So you obviously think that Jalen's a better quarterback than Tannehill? He's not. What would make you think that? Ryan Tannehill was the number one seed in the AFC last year without Derrick Henry and without A.J. Brown. What gave you that idea? You're dreaming. You're hoping, as everyone else is. He's better. Where? Tannehill has actually been to AFC Championship games. You're out of your mind. Welcome back. National Football Show. Your boy Big Silz. Please hit the like button. Next 3 years, before we get into the topic, okay, and me resetting it. The next couple of years here, let me ask you a question here about A.J. Brown. 3 years in Tennessee, A.J. Brown averaged 62 catches, 998 yards, and 8 touchdowns a season. Okay? That's with Derrick Henry and a pro passing quarterback. Do you think Jalen Hurts improves those numbers for A.J. Brown? Do you think he improves that? I think if I'm not mistaken, A.J. Brown's got 29.95 in yards in 3 years in Tennessee. You think Jalen improves those numbers? Yes. So you obviously think that Jalen's a better quarterback than Tannehill? He's not. What would make you think that? Ryan Tannehill was the number one seed in the AFC last year without Derrick Henry and without A.J. Brown. What gave you that idea? You're dreaming. You're hoping, as everyone else is. He's better. Where? Tannehill has actually been to AFC Championship games. You're out of your mind. Let me take a look. You know what? That's a funny comment because, again, if you're A.J. Brown, you're coming to Philadelphia. You think your number's going to improve with a guy who doesn't really throw the ball well? Okay. Again, I think it's wishful thinking. Ryan Tannehill's stats. Hurts is 9 times explosive. The guy's got a weak arm. No, take it back. Inaccurate arm. Where are you getting that from? Those are fake news. Let's take a look at what Tannehill did last year. Interesting. Here's what Tannehill has done in Tennessee since he's been the starter. Let me add this up. 7-3, 11-5, and 12-5. 13. He's 30-13 as a starting quarterback in Tennessee. Yeah, okay. Last 2 years, he's thrown for 3,800 yards. Year before, he threw for 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. This last year, he had 21 touchdowns, 14 picks. Not good. 67% completion percentage. And his record is 72-59 as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, in Tennessee, he's 30-13. Silz, if he can get back and just deal with, listen, last year was basically his first year as a rookie quarterback. No, Rashad, I do think he's going to improve. I just don't think he's going to improve enough. I'd like to be positive about Hurts. Okay, that's fair. That's fair, William. It's June 21st. I'm not going to kill you on that. That's okay. You're comparing a third-year quarterback to a 10-year guy who stunk it up against the Dolphins. You mean who had the number 1 seed in the AFC last year? That guy? Hurts only played 1 year. What's Tannehill's first-year stats? Good call. He was in a shitty organization in Miami with a shitty owner and Joe Philbin. Ryan Tannehill's stats. Let's take a look at that. Threw for 3,200 yards, 58 quarterback percentage. His team was 7-9. This guy's a passer, though. Your guy's not. All the people you can't compare Jalen Hurts to one throwing quarterback. You can't. That's not the strength of his game. Ryan Tannehill's not a runner. He's a passer. Every single time that you guys compare him to like Josh Allen or any of these other guys, it's a fundamental flaw. Those guys are passers. They're going to improve in the passing game. Jalen Hurts wins games with his legs. Lamar Jackson improved with his pass. Next year, he threw for 36 touchdowns. But this kid was a Heisman winner in college, and we knew he could throw the ball. We just didn't know if he was going to be given the opportunity to throw the ball. And again, my question more so than anything goes back to A.J. Brown here more than Jalen here. Okay? Wait a minute. My question is more about A.J. You think A.J. right now currently, this is what his averages are. 62 catches, almost 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns a season. And you think Jalen is going to improve those numbers, knowing full well he's not a passing quarterback. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The biggest question marks going into 2022 for the Eagles are the head coach, the DC, and the quarterback. Can you really have any more bigger issues? Those are your 3 biggest issues. It's not about the roster. Well, in some terms it is, on how they're going to use these guys. Okay? Josh says, I'm a Hurts hater. No, not a hater. I'm pulling for the kid. I just don't think he's going to do it. You think he's going to be a 4,200-yard passer. Okay? More power to you. He's never demonstrated that in his career, his entire career. But he's going to do it this year. Okay? I pray he does. Okay? You're not comparing Jalen Hurts and Michael Vick, are you? Tannehill's a bum. How can a bum lead a team to the number 1 seed in last year's powerful AFC? How can he be a bum, Flex? Derrick Henry didn't play for 9 games. AJ missed 5. He missed parts of 5 ball games. How did he do it? You guys call a guy in Minnesota a bum who's thrown 6 times in his 10 years for 4,000 yards a bum. What's your guy? Okay. Again, your fundamental flaw, Steven, is you're talking about one of the most prolific passers of all time in Aaron Rodgers versus Jalen, who's not an accurate quarterback. It's a flaw. That's not a comparison. You're talking about passing quarterbacks. Your guy's not a passing quarterback. Case closed. Yeah, Steven says 1 year. Wait a second. He's been a running quarterback since Alabama. That's not true. Again, this question goes to AJ more so than anything. Look at the division. Joseph, let's do this to show what an idiot Joseph is. Watch this. He says, look at their division. Tennessee Titans record 2021. Tennessee Titans record 2021. Okay. They beat the Colts. They beat the Bills. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Colts. They beat the Rams, the defending Super Bowl champions. They beat the 49ers. Okay, they beat the champs. The Titans are bums? I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. And Henry was hurt when they beat him. Okay? So let me get over here. You want Hurts to throw for 4,200 yards. He's not a passing quarterback, but a passing quarter. Oh, my God almighty. You can never compare your guy to Aaron Rodgers. Never. Never. And by the way, I threw 4,200 yards out there knowing full well he'll never touch it. No. Joseph, you know what? No, I realize it, Joseph, that talking to people sometimes that don't get it, it's a me thing, not you. So no. Yeah. I got to remember that all the time. It's like talking to a rock. Oh, Bob says that Tennessee made it despite Tannehill. So you mean the last 9 games when they didn't really have A.J. Brown and they didn't have Derrick Henry, they won in spite of him. Interesting. Chris says it. Hurts is a slightly better quarterback than he was in college. Chris, that's my whole point about Jalen's improvement. He's going to improve, but slightly. He's not going to have Josh Allen leaps and bounds or Patrick Mahomes leaps and bounds because he's not a prototypical NFL passer. He'll never be. He's never been in his career. Can you think of a running quarterback like a Tommy Frazier? He's a better version of Tommy Frazier, who was at Nebraska back in the day. Can you tell me a running quarterback in college who won games as a running quarterback or those RPO things that went on to win a Super Bowl? Shock jock? I don't know what you're talking about. Silz wants you guys. I'm not. Let's see. Dak was trash and running at Mississippi. Spike. Dak Prescott had the Mississippi State Bulldogs ranked 3rd at one time when he was at that college. And if you talk to Dan Mullen said the number one thing that improved with Dak Prescott was his accuracy and his passing of the football. Wasn't his running. He said from the time he showed up at a camp when he was in high school to the time he left Mississippi State, Dan Mullen didn't recognize the guy's improvement as a passer. He said it was night and day. That's never been the case here. Remember Dr. Shock? No, you'll have to give me a good one. Predictions for Hurts, 33-50 passing and 550 rushing. Edge, if he shows up and does that, he'll be fired. Mike says that Jalen has been in the league a few years now with NFL coaching and getting significant playing time, even before being a full-time starter last year. Why do you people talk like last year was his first year? Because it's an easy go-to, Mike. But Mike, to some of the comments, okay, some of the comments, when you're given the job and you have it as your job and you know full well you're not going to be pulled, there's a confidence level there that has to be part of the quarterback's persona and how he delivers the ball and how he delivers himself every day in front of the team. I think there's an air of confidence that it's his team. Rumor has it Jalen's spin looked different. Right? So A.J. Brown, again, circling back. A.J. Brown averages 62 catches a year, 998 yards in receiving yards, and 8 touchdowns a season. And obviously, he's improved mightily the last 2 years of his time in Tennessee. In the reason that the Eagles gave him $100 million. And by the way, I completely agree. I think he is an elite wideout. I think he is elite in every way. I don't think there is anything. And I'm going to make a point to you here in a couple minutes that he may be your best wide receiver you've ever had for any length of time on your football team. Okay? Top of the hour, I'm going to make that point. A.J. Brown may be the greatest talent you've ever had. Okay? I think what we have going on here, and here was the topic that I was spinning towards. And people were like, well, Silz, why are you bringing up Wentz? Well, again, the storyline this year will be this. If Wentz can find himself and he could end up leading that Commander team to a division title and the playoffs, Carson Wentz just needed time in Philly. Big ask. I agree with everyone. I agree. It's a big ask. And is this stuff coach stuff? Doesn't this sound similar to what we heard Nick Sirianni saying? So wait a minute. You guys call this coach talk. Well, what's this? Man, the ball looks different coming out of Jalen's hand. What were the other comments that Nick Sirianni was saying? He seems to know where to go with the ball more. What was the other ones? He has command of the team. The team really is fighting for him. It's the same shit in Philly as it is in Washington. And is it coach talk? Absolutely. Is it head coaches and offensive coordinators building their guy up? You know what's funny? You never hear Andy Reid talking about Patrick Mahomes. Better grasp of the offense. You never hear. Is the guy's name in Cincinnati Zach Taylor? Is that the head coach of the Bengals? I've never heard him make a comment about Joe Burrow. Like ever. I've never heard that head coach actually speak. Have you heard Brandon Staley say anything about Justin Herbert? Have you heard anybody say anything about Josh Allen in Buffalo that was on that coaching staff? When you have the guy, you don't have to bark about the guy. Like, Xander, when you have the greatest host of all time, you don't have to sit around and go, this guy's the GOAT, man. Hey, he really, really knows. You know it. You know when you have it. I let others do that. This guy's the greatest thing I've ever seen. That's not his coach talking. All these coaches that are talking about their dude always is a red flag for me. Man, this guy, like I hear the coaches in New York talking about Zach Wilson. Oh man, I mean he just looks so much better. The spinning of the football, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy must look like a train wreck. He must look like a train wreck in camp. Because when you're doing that, man, every player in the locker room goes, Jesus, it wasn't that great. It's helmets and shorts. Oh, my God almighty, man. Bills weren't sure they had their man until recently. Kenneth, not debating that, but he was a passer. He wasn't a runner. Okay? He ran because he didn't have the fundamentals to develop that great arm of his. Now that he was around Brian Daboll, when he was up there as the OC, and Ken Dorsey, who's still up there, those guys realize this guy's a passer. Bob goes like this. Look, see, was not effective. Hey, Bob, who won the AFC last year? Who won the AFC going into the playoffs? Look at Bob throwing those nothing stats at you. Exactly what Xander's talking about. I don't give a shit about stats. I care about people handling and putting up wins. They went 12-5 without their bell cow. Dude, when Derrick Henry went down, they were the number one team in the AFC. And when the end of the season ended in the regular season, they were still the number one team 9 weeks later. Let me tell you something here. If Jalen Hurts loses A.J. Brown or anybody in that old line, like Jordan Mailata, he's finished. He's finished. That quarterback lost two superstars in A.J. Brown and in Derrick Henry. And you guys call him a bum. Fine. Put a lot of pressure on your guy. Ryan Tannehill. Yeah, everyone goes, Ryan Tannehill stinks here. I don't know what you think your guy has done that you call him better than Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill's actually gone into Kansas City and won. You were blown to pieces by the Chiefs last year in your own building. They ran the ball for 200 yards. And that's not what KC does. He's never had a 400-yard pass. You've had one 4,000-yard passer in Eagle history. Go sit down. Sports says this guy sounds like an Eagle hater. No, I don't think you have the guy. And my point about A.J. Brown is, you think he's going to improve these stats? These are the same numbers almost that Devontae Smith had last year. 62 catches, 900 yards, and 8 touchdowns. But magically, he's going to improve these stats for AJ, and he's going to improve Devontae's and Dallas Goedert's. Hey, sports, I think you're going to get to the NFC Championship game with this guy. As long as he doesn't turn it over, do stupid things. I think what they did last year, if they improve 15% because the NFC sucks so bad, it's not that big of a reach to say that. But I don't think you can beat the Rams, and I don't think that you can beat the 49ers, and I don't think you can beat the Buccaneers or the Packers. Those teams are the elite teams in the NFC. You're not better than those teams. Case closed. Not even close. What week can you serve? Let me see. I'll tell you, I'll give you something here, Spike. I'll eat some crow if you beat the Vikings. Better yet, let me do this here for you. Spike, I'm going to be fair here. Let's do the games before the bye. Lions, Vikings, Washington, Jags, Cards, Cowboys at the link. That's 6. I say you're 3-3 going into the bye. If you're better than 3-3, I'll eat some crow. Is that fair? I say you're 3-3. We can beat the Trey 49ers. W2, we're in. All of us are in. If you guys are better than 3-3 going into the bye, it's on tape now. Okay? It's on tape. Hell, I don't even need to throw that other topic out because we had a good discussion here. Hey, I do want to do one thing, though. I do want to do one thing before we take a timeout. I swear on my kid, and I really do, and I mean this. I pray I'm wrong. I'm not kidding. I'm not one of the hosts, or I don't do a show where I root for someone's failure. I'm not doing that, okay? But in my heart of hearts, I don't think he can do it. A benchmark for you, I didn't think Lamar Jackson could do it. Okay? I didn't. Game on. 3-3, you're smoking. Okay. You got the Vikings, Washington, Cardinals, and Cowboys that are going to be some pretty tough opponents in that stretch run there. You got it. You think you're better than the Cardinals. You think you're better than the Cowboys. I actually think you are. That Washington game is going to be interesting, and the Viking game is going to tell me a lot about the entire season. Okay? I'm going to fire you up at 6-0. Okay. Xander, we're on. Hey. Okay? Here we are, man. We pushed the chips in. Okay? We pushed the chips in. You are going to eat crow. All right. How do you like your crow, grilled or baked? Steamed like steamers. Okay. It is on. I say you're 3-3 heading into the bye. Then I say coming out of the bye, you're 5-3 going into that Washington game. Then you got that tough run with Colts, Packers, and Titans. That'll also be a second part of your season. First part of your season is Vikings, Washington, Jags, Cards, Cowboys. Then the other part of your season is Washington, Colts, Packers, Titans. Those are your stretch runs that you're going to have to be concerned with. Okay? Oh, my God. All right. Hey, I want to show you guys something here why I think AJ may actually be your greatest wideout that you've ever had on your football team. Want to hit on that? Please hit the like button. Hour number 2. Don't forget hour 3, our NFL Hall of Fame voter from Sports Illustrated, Howard Balzer, will be with us at 5:30 Eastern time. We'll go over to the Deshaun Watson story. And also, too, I want to ask him because he votes on the Hall of Fame. We had that conversation last week about Mike Tomlin. I want to bring that up again to my friend Howard Balzer. We'll talk about Eric Allen again. We'll try to push him into the Hall of Fame. He is a voter. Hit the like button. Hour 2. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.